Hi everyone, Christina here. Welcome to another video at my YouTube channel and blog. I'm back from vacation and now it's time for some holiday mail art. I have some really fun envelopes planned for you guys this week. I'm going to do 3 videos this week like usual, and all 3 will be mail art related. So today I'm going to start out with a really simple envelope, something that you can do with just a few simple supplies. I hope you guys enjoy. I'm using very minimal supplies today, and I'm starting out with this white envelope. This is a Neenah Solar White envelope, and I'm going to be doing some tape masking today. So I have a very narrow strip of tape here. This is actually some blue painter's tape that's cut to 1/4 inch wide, and you can buy it like this already at this width on Amazon. I haven't seen it any other places, but I'll have it linked down below in the supplies. And I've used this width of tape in the past for some videos, and it happens to be one of my most favorite widths of tape for masking. So I'm going to be creating some diagonal stripes, sort of like peppermint stripes on this envelope. And it's only going to be on the side and the bottom on the main area of the envelope, and then I'll have it over the entire area on the flap. So I'm extending the diagonals onto the flap and having it cover all of it. I will reserve a small area near the fold on the flap to put my return address, but for the most part, all of the entire flap will be covered in some ink blending. I'm putting out a Tonic Easy Clean matte. It's a nice slick surface, and it will not only protect my work surface here from all the ink I'm going to be using, but it also provides a slick surface so that as I blend onto my envelope, I get a lot of ink coming in from the edge. I'm using some Candied Apple Distress ink, and I'm just reusing a strip of some wide post-it tape to protect the flap. I decided that I would actually use 2 different colors of ink. At first, I was going to have it just be this red ink, and then I wouldn't necessarily need to mask off so that I could have 2 colors on the front and back. But since I'm going to be using 2 colors, I masked off the flap so that I can have the red color come all the way up to that edge and not worry about it going over onto the flap. So I'm blending in from the edge of the envelope here, and I'm making sure that I don't catch the torn edge of the tape. So I'm blending in and making sure the color is more intense at the edge and then softens as it goes toward the center of the envelope. I then turned around that wide post-it tape so I could protect the front of the envelope while I work on the flap. And I'm going to switch colors. I'm now using peeled paint distress ink. And I'm going to have this ink come in from all of the sides, not from the fold, but from the free edge of the flap. And I'm going to reserve an area near the fold so that I have a bit more white space in order to write my return address. It's just going to be a little bit easier to not have the stripe pattern behind the mailing address. It'll be a little bit more legible. So I'm reserving that area in the center near the fold just for that. So after I had all of the blending on here, it's time to peel up all of the tape and reveal this peppermint stripe pattern. And this part is literally like Christmas for me. I love peeling up masking because it's so satisfying to see the crisp edge of that ink blending. So this portion of the design does take a little bit of time, putting down the tape and then peeling it up, but I think it's completely worth it. And if you want to make this a little bit easier, there is a diagonal peppermint stripe stencil from Simon Says Stamp that would work fabulous for this particular technique, but I did want to show you how you could do it just using some tape. So I'll link to that stencil down below if you want to check that out. It'll make things a little bit faster, but for the most part, you can really do this with just tape and some ink blending and a blending tool. So I have some postage stamps picked out to go for this envelope, and what I like to do when I'm picking out stamps is I generally have one forever stamp, which in the United States forever stamps are those that will always be the right price for first class postage. And then I add some additional vintage stamps to kind of round out the design. I just think it looks really fun and festive, and it elevates the design by adding some additional colors from those other stamps. So I just have those placed on the envelope right now. They're not stuck down. And that Forever stamp, which does have adhesive on the back, it's like a sticker, I have that just held down by just the corner just a tiny bit, so I can move it if I need to. I then took a T-square ruler and drew on some lines to guide me as I write the recipient's address. And I varied the widths of each of these lines. So the name is quite tall, and then as I move down in the address, it'll get a little bit smaller. For this first line with Angela's name, I had it be very narrow and tall letters. And then for the street address, which is actually a post office box, I used a more script or cursive lettering design. And this is just to give it a little bit of variation in like the font choice. These aren't really fonts because fonts are digital, but the design of the letters, I like to mix them up like this. I think it looks really, really cool. So after I have the street address done, I'm going to move on to the city and state, and you'll notice that third line is a lot shorter than the other two. So I'm going to make my letters much smaller and just use some really simple capital letters going across. For the zip code or postal code, I'm going to have it be very large. I want it to be very substantial and nearly as big as Angela's name. By the way, Angela did give me permission to use her mailing address, so thank you so much, Angela. And if you would like to have your address considered for future mail art videos, I have updated the form down in the video description or at my blog. It's the form for monthly giveaways, and you can just enter your info there, and there's an option to select if you want your address to be considered for mail art. So you can click on that. The form changes every month, so if you have already submitted in previous months, you will have to submit it again. This is just my way of making sure that everyone's addresses are current and up to date. So after I wrote on her address, I did erase it with my eraser, and then in order to attach these or adhere these vintage postage stamps, I did have to add some moisture to the back of them. And just so I'm not licking all these stamps, because I have no idea where they've been, I just spray some water into a paper towel and then press the stamps into that wet paper towel, and it moistens them enough that they stick to the envelope. Finished off by adding my return address on the flap of the envelope. Just really, really simple. I didn't do any special writing. This is just my regular handwriting. And that is the envelope for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. I think if you wanted to step up this envelope design even more, you could add some stamped elements along the edge with all that blending. I think it'd be really cool to do black snowflakes. A little bit untraditional, but fun. Thanks so much for watching today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed that envelope design. I really like the peppermint stripes. I think you could change it up with a lot of different colors and it would look fabulous. Thanks so much for watching. If you want to subscribe to this YouTube channel to see even more videos like this in the future, please make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. And if you want to share this video with a friend, hit the share button. I would really appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.